Hi, I'm Will Schultz, and today I'm reviewing Kirby and the Forgotten Land for the Nintendo Switch. Kirby's making the jump to 3D for the very first time, and I'm happy to report that the transition went a lot more smoothly than it did for a certain blue hedgehog. Let's take a look at what makes Kirby and the Forgotten Land an unforgettable adventure. Jumping, floating, and sucking feel just as good in 3D as they did in 2D, thanks to some exquisite level design that's very reminiscent of Super Mario 3D World. You'll select a stage from the overworld, run through from beginning to end, beating enemies, gaining their powers, and rescuing Waddle Dees along the way. It's a pretty standard format for a platformer, but if it's not broken, there's just no need to fix it. The Forgotten Lands themselves may be modeled after a post-apocalyptic wasteland, but everything is just so bright and friendly that it just can't seem too menacing. There are adorable enemies and bright colors in every single stage of every single area across the whole game, but nowhere is brighter or more friendly than Waddle Dee Town. Waddle Dee Town is where the Waddle Dees you rescue in the game stages come together to try to rebuild the town into something of a community. As you rescue more Waddle Dees, they'll restore more buildings in Waddle Dee Town, giving you access to things like a cinematic viewer, a workshop to upgrade your abilities, a restaurant to restore your health, and of course, several minigames. The minigames in and of themselves are pretty simple, but there is something satisfying about manning a food truck through a lunch rush or fishing and landing yourself a Whopper. But you're not here to listen to me talk about Waddle Dee Town. No. You want to know about Mouthful Mode. Mouthful Mode is Kirby and the Forgotten Land's new mechanic, wherein Kirby walks up to a large inanimate object, tries to suck it down, and just can't quite swallow. And what you're left with is a frankly nightmarish visual of a stretched out Kirby with just a little bit of object hanging out. The objects Kirby can go Mouthful Mode on range from cars to safety cones to whole staircases. Each Mouthful Mode has its own special abilities and uses, and while they are definitely gimmicks, they are integrated well enough into level design that they never feel tedious at all. My personal favorite is the stairs, where Kirby has the special ability of falling over in several different directions. Here at Megadads, we look at gaming from a family perspective. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is the most family-friendly video game I've played in quite some time. The game includes an easy mode for younger players, and that is saying something because Kirby is already a pretty simple video game. The generous float mechanic can be used to get over most obstacles and sand out the rough edges in the few tricky platforming sections the game does have. There is absolutely no objectionable content in this video game whatsoever. If your little one can hold and operate a controller, they can at least play Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is not my new favorite Kirby game. That one's still Planet Robobot. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with the Forgotten Land, but it is weighed down by a few shortcomings that I've just come to expect from the franchise at this point. Namely, that it's a little too easy and a little too short. The thing I enjoyed the absolute most in Kirby and the Forgotten Land were the ability trials, wherein you are given a specific ability and you run through a gauntlet that was designed around it. I had a lot of fun playing through those, but I still didn't have a lot of reason to play them more than once. There is a time goal, but the reward for reaching it is pretty trivial. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is a great game for kids and a good game for adults, and that's why I'm giving Kirby and the Forgotten Land a 4 out of 5. Thank you so much for watching this Megadads review. If you liked it, go ahead and click subscribe and be sure to hit the little bell for notifications. Do you have some thoughts you'd like to share about Kirby and the Forgotten Land? Maybe you'd just like to make some jokes about Mouthful Mode. Either way, leave them in the comments. That's going to do it for me today, but I'll be back soon with more here at Megadads, where gamer life meets real life.